Sexy
You are in the drive show with man like Kipto.
Yes, you can always call me Captain Mr. MC Kirangi.
Inakuwa nzuri tena sana. Of course, we had promised you that come up this hour, we're going to be having a fantastic, and when I say fantastic, I really mean fantastic conversation about business, startups, and of course the environment house here.
Yeah.
And of course, to remind you that our guest is in the building. Kwa mapana na marefu, the moment of truth. The moment we all have been waiting for is in front of us.
Yeah.
Right about now, I'd like to welcome our guest. Firstly, I want to start with a question that is in all our minds. Why would a doctor leave the doctor job to come and start a social entrepreneur business? I know this is a question in everyone's mind, and I want us to start from there.
Thank you for having me. So my name is Dr. Taiba Hatimi, and I am the co-founder and CEO of Baus Taka Enterprise. Why I left my dental practice to venture into social entrepreneurship? That's a tricky one. So there was a time during COVID lockdown, 2021, I was driving to the supermarket and I almost got involved in an accident at Pandia roundabout. There was my car and there were two matatus. And the reason was somebody decided to dump waste, magunia as a waste in the middle of the roundabout, hapo kwa barabara. And we almost got into an accident. And I asked myself, who would actually do something like this? Sahi tungekuwa tumeshaumia, wengine wameshakufa, you know? So I went back home and I thought, why would somebody in the right mind achukue magunia za takataka na azimwage hapo kwa barabara? So I started talking to friends and I started getting on Google and like typing illegal dumping of waste in Mombasa, what is happening. And then I come to find out that there would be more plastic than fish by 2050 in the ocean. So that's a UNEP report that states by 2050 there would be more plastic than fish. And coming from Mombasa County, I was like, wow, I have this strong love of the ocean. You know, every time I get stressed, I go to Lighthouse and I just look at the ocean and I'm like, I feel good. You know, like sea therapy. Yeah. So then that actually triggered me to venture into waste management. You know, I've been in the social entrepreneurship space of women empowerment for the past 5 years. So I was like, okay, how can it be more plastic than fish in the ocean? Let's do something. And that is how it actually started me going into waste management. Ilianza tu hivyo. Somebody needs to do something. Kwa nini watu wanatupa takataka tu barabarani? And then it just took off. That's when Baus Taka Enterprise was born. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, is there anything that really inspires you to do that? Unajua basically tunawapatanga kwamba wakati mtu anafanya kitu, labda maybe there is something behind, ama labda there is kuna wengine wanasema kwamba there is inner push. For you, is it from inner push ama ni nini ambayo huanga kinakuinspire sana?
It was the passion for the environment.
Okay.
Yeah, and then I came to learn more about climate change. And then I found out that Mombasa is an island. There's an increase in sea level. There's a possibility climate change would make Mombasa get submerged into the ocean. I was like, whoa, change starts with me. Something needs to be done. And we started a movement, and I'm so happy that we went into social entrepreneurship of waste management, because right now we started a movement in Mombasa County.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very powerful. I want to bring your attention to your app. Very interesting. Actually, I have to commend you on that. Can you walk us through how someone, let's say for me, I live in VOK and I want to do business with your team. Can you walk us through how I can register and how the process is?
So with the Baus Taka app, at first we just thought of having an Uber of waste management, because illegal dumping of waste is because of the unauthorized waste managers. So we decided, let's get all the authorized waste managers onto the app. Somebody comes onto the app, you just register with your number. Download, register with your number, and you start using the app. It's that simple. So that was one. But then later on, we were like, how can we empower the community and incentivize the waste so that the community can learn that it's not waste, but there is value in it. So that's when we started paying for the plastic waste. We started teaching the community how to segregate the plastic waste, which is like unaika plastiki kando, unaika ile organic ya jikoni kando. But then we went a step ahead and said we are ready to pay a cash incentive so that you gain something out of that segregation of the waste. Because if you don't segregate that waste, hiyo plastiki na hizo takataka ingine unaenda unatupa kwa barabara. Kukinyesha, or when there is heavy winds, it ends up in the ocean. Mombasa is an island. One way or the other, it will end up in the ocean. And iki end kwa ocean, watu wingi wan hawajui, it's plastic takes more than 400 years to break down. Okay, and it's like it breaks into microplastics, and then wale samaki wanazila ile microplastic wanaona ni chakula. And we, as a community, we live in Mombasa, we eat a lot of seafood. So it's like you've taken that plastic fish, as they call it, plastic fish, and then it ends up on your plate, nakula. And there's a research there that you can get cancer because of that.
Because of, wow.
Yeah. So we are actually, through the mobile app, we also have a blog where we are raising awareness on plastic waste segregation and why it is important for you to do that. At source. Alafu pia tunaambia community ni tu hatuambii mfanye segregation of your waste, especially of your plastic. We are ready to go a step further na tutawalipa. Hata kama ni pesa kidogo, depending on how much waste you have, the plastic waste, but we are ready kukulipa. We are empowering you as the community.
As the community.
Yes.
Which I believe is very powerful. You know, when there is motivation,
Exactly.
people are willing to commit to the cause.
Yes.
Very, very powerful.
Okay, let me ask a question. Basically, can you explain how you ensure that waste that is collected is disposed in an environment that is it is disposed in a friendly manner? Yes, ama ni vipi ambavyo wanga mnahakikisha kwamba ile waste ambayo inakolektiwa inadisposiwa vizuri ambayo haita affect maybe the ecosystem ama the environment pia?
So what we do is we sensitize communities, vipi they can separate their waste at source, which is segregation of waste at source. After doing that, tunachukua ile ambayo ni recyclable. We focus on plastic, but that doesn't mean that we don't take the other types of waste. We're waste managers. We also take cardboard, we take metal, we take aluminium, we take glass. Hizi zote recyclables ambazo zina value. Naweza kuziuza kwa wale watu wanafanya recycling. So vile zile hizi zote zinachukuliwa kwa recyclers. Unfortunately, ile organic waste ya jikoni, it ends up in the landfill. Because sisi wenyewe, first hakuna recycling plant ya organic waste in Mombasa. Alafu pia sisi hatufanyi composting. Kuna wale high end communities, wao wenyewe wana compost kwa garden zao. But middle income wengine, low income, hawana hiyo space ya kufanya composting. So huwa tunachukua hiyo, tunapeleka landfill. Unfortunately.
Amazing. I want us to go into something very interesting for all the business people listening in. When, as a business person, you look for, let's say, talent or people to hire, there are things or qualities you specifically look into. And as a boss yourself, you always have to go through, nataka mtu fulani afanye kazi fulani, nataka labda akwe na time management skills or that kind of thing. At your enterprise or at a personal level, what qualities do you look for in an individual?
Wow. Integrity is my number one quality. And by integrity, it means that you do the right thing always, even when people are not watching you. Even when you're alone, you still do the right thing. That's my number one quality, integrity.
Integrity is the top of your list.
Oh my God, that's like number one. Even the interviews, when we're interviewing staff, I'm like, you need to have this as a core value, integrity. Yeah.
Amazing. Wow.
Okay, niko na swali kwako. Basically, kama kuna one of the biashara ambao watu wanasema sana sana ni ngumu, ni waste, mambo na collection and all that. Na most of the time unapotanga kwa nini wanasema hivyo, because wanasemanga kwamba kuna cartels. Na sana sana unapata ya kwamba mtu anasema kwamba kuna mtaa fulani, huu ni mtaa wangu, haufai kuingia pale. sijui basically ushikutana na vitu kama vile, ama kama tuseme vitu kama vile, na kama ushikutana nazo, how did you handle them? Ama basically tuseme for example pia kama kuna mtu mwingine pia anataka kuingia pale, unaweza muambiaje kuhusiana na story nzima?
That's a fully loaded question. We have come across that pushback from certain communities. Unfortunately, easy mambo za cartel, it's there in Mombasa, and you have to be very, very careful unaenda wapi na unaingia vipi. So you need a community entry strategy. And community entry strategy siwezi tu kuja kwa jurisdiction yako na nikaingia tu. I have to go through the gatekeepers. So like for example, we went into Old Town community. The first thing we did is we went to the chief. We spoke to the elders, wale mwanyumba kumi. We spoke to the CBOs, the women, and then we set up base there.
Okay.
You just can't show up somewhere alafu unajifanya I want to be here, utatolewa. So there's a way that you do things, and there's a process that needs to be followed.
Okay.
As a woman, I believe collaborations is the way to go. So we don't fight with anybody. We collaborate. Even though this is your place, how can we come together and work for the benefit of the community and for the benefit of the environment?
Okay.
So that's a question I pose to community-based organizations and to the community at large. Ikiwa hawataki, then there's nothing you can do about it. But so far, so good. Tunajua is mwanamke huwa uko na maneno matamu.
Very true, very true. I want to take you way back to 2021. You enrolled for the Mandela Fellowship Award. I want you to talk to us. How was the experience? What did you learn from that experience?
First of all, it was a very unique experience. We were known as the unique cohort because we applied in 2019. We were supposed to go to the US in 2020. We could not go because of COVID restrictions. Tukangoja 2021, bado tukaambiwa mwezi enda. And we were having our bags ready going to the US, you know. Unfortunately, we are the unique cohort that never went to the US. So we had a virtual, we had all our sessions were virtual, but it was one of the most empowering fellowships that I have been in. And one thing I learned is leadership. Being proactive and conflict resolution, and that fellowship just broadened my mind when it comes to working in the community. And especially because I was in the track of leadership in business, I really learned the skills of coming, if you're having a conflict, how do you come up with a conflict resolution strategy? Because especially now when I'm having a team of almost 20 youth, na unajua watu wakiwa from the informal sector, kuna ile mvurutano.
Yeah.
So that fellowship was just a game changer for me. Yeah.
Amazing. And of course, one thing from this fellowship, I believe there was prizes and that kind of stuff. Goodies are always there. You have won various awards and grants and that kind of thing, which will help your business to scale up and to grow. How are you planning, to be inclusive in this? Because we have seen startups even scaling to, countries abroad. What is the plan for Baus Taka, let's say? Is it going regionally? Is it going to places like Nairobi? Is it going to Eldoret? What is the plan?
Okay, there were 2 awards that we won.
Okay.
There is one through the Mandela Washington Fellowship, that is the US Embassy in Nairobi. It's known as the Alumni Engagement Innovation Fund.
Yes.
And then there is the Afri-Plastics Challenge, which is like what we won recently, the £250,000 award. So with the Afri-Plastics Challenge, we plan on scaling first to the coast region of Kenya, and then later on to Nairobi, and then countrywide. So that is actually our plan.
Okay.
Yeah.
Amazing. And I want to take you back to an interview you did, I think a while back, with Gilitex Digital. And I want to quote you. You said, private sector should come in and invest in waste to energy plants. Whatever waste remains in collection points could be sent to the plant for conversion into energy and that kind of thing. Do you till this date believe that this can be done, and should it be something that the government should implement? And as investors like yourself, do you think this will be a game changer for the second largest city in Kenya, Mombasa?
Unfortunately, I hear there were investors that came and they needed a certain quantity of waste that could be converted to energy. And there was not enough waste in Mombasa County that was generated in Mombasa County to actually set up the waste to energy plant. That was last year. But this year I hear, in fact, I had the governor state that he's going to be having expression of interest for investors to come and set up a plant, a recycling plant. I don't know whether it's a waste to energy recycling plant, but whichever recycling plant it is, we are supporting it 100%. Yeah.
Okay, I have a question. Okay, how was the enterprise? Because basically you're dealing with the people from that is Mombasa County. How has it really impacted the people who live around Mombasa?
I think Baus Taka being the first pioneering enterprise with empowering the community in two ways. One, we're going to train you on plastic waste segregation.
Okay.
And then not only trained, after training you, we'll empower you with the gunny bags or the bins. And then you get on the app or the USSD and we pay you. Okay. And it's not only that. Every time you use the app and you segregate your plastics, you get points which can be redeemed.
Okay.
When we went into the communities, we asked them, if we were to give you some sort of an incentive, what would you want apart from money? Would you want health services or would you want education? They said health, because health is expensive, the services are expensive, and we don't have enough money to go to the hospitals.
Okay.
So you can redeem the points for outpatient healthcare services. We come in and we pay for you. So that is what we've been piloting, and we're now into talks with the NHIF on how we can get the women that are very active in plastic waste segregation, how can we onboard them and get them insurance, health insurance, for not just them and for their families. That's just one. Two, we have a Baus Eco Champs program that is targeting young girls in schools and it's targeting women from the community. Let me say why the women, because I'm seeing you're both men here. I'm for the boy child, but we realized that when you engage the women, when they go to the weddings, they go to the funerals, they go for parties, they're chatting with friends, they'll tell people, do you know about Baus Taka? I mean, this is what you're supposed to do. Get on the app, download it, and people actually do it. So it's like we have this multiplier effect. It's like the information gets cascaded down to the community. But when you tell a guy, anaenda kwa mpira anasahau, it's like you have to constantly tell them, we need this information down there, So we learned for like the past 6 months that when you empower these young girls and the women, they're actually eco champions. They're like ambassadors for Baus Taka in the community, grassroots. That's why we work very closely with them. We're empowering them. In fact, we have one who's actually is also in the Mombasa Plastics Prize, who's also a Baus Eco Champ. So you see, this is something that is really good on the ground. They're starting their own initiatives. We have one who is a Girl Guide young leader. They invited us to meet other young Girl Guides, and they're teaching the Girl Guides how to segregate plastic waste. And Girl Guides is a worldwide movement.
Yeah.
It's all over. So you see, mwanamke, when you empower a woman,
you empower the whole community,
the whole nation.
Amazing.
Wow.
Right? And the Baus Eco Champs program, we thought, okay, let's teach them responsible waste management practices, circular economy. Let's teach them about climate change. And this is in partnership with the Department of Environment, Mombasa County, in partnership with the WWF, Baus Taka. And then we said, what else can we empower them with? So we empower them with entrepreneurship skills, even though it's just basic, but we still empower them with how do you start a sustainable business? How do you run that business? Which is a skill that is really important to have, especially now.
Yeah.
So that is how we're giving back to the community. And this is like fully funded.
Wow. Yeah. I have to say this is very, very, very powerful information. Now, I want us to jump into a very interesting segment that I've been seriously waiting for. A while back, I had a chance to listen in to a hackathon where you are a judge. And I want to pick your mind and your thoughts on what did you, first of all, learn that many presenters or other panelists lacked in their presentation? And number two, as a leader, what did you learn from that experience that it taught you, from, there are times where you are the judge and days where you are being judged?
The Mombasa Climathon.
Yes.
Back in 2022.
Yes.
The youth had exceptional ideas and they were executing them really well. But even for myself, for Baus Taka, when it comes to sustainability, you'd come up with a brilliant idea, but what would make it sustainable?
Now that is the hardest question.
That is the hardest question. You can get grant money for the next maybe 2 or 3 years, because after that, the grant money will end. What are you doing to ensure that your company bado itaendelea for the long term?
For the long term.
Yeah. And it was actually, I was listening to them and I was like, is this how I sound also? I really need to zone in, into the sustainability aspect of the business. And it's something that we are really focusing on as Baus Taka right now. Yeah.
Okay, na kama jinsi ambavyo umezungumzia hapo. Okay, as a enterprise, what are your long-term plans ambazo mmeweka yani kuhakikisha kwamba mtaendelea in the near future?
Again, sustainability.
Sustainability,
yes. With Baus Taka, we are a hybrid model. We're a social enterprise. We have a part that is like purely giving back to the community, and we have the part where we charge the client so that we can be sustainable.
Okay.
And our overall goal is to ensure sustainable development when it comes to segregation of plastics and recycling into eco-friendly products. So that's our long-term goal, and we already set in objectives on how we're going to achieve those goals.
Okay.
Amazing.
Watch Baus Taka very, very closely.
We are hoping maybe to be your partners so that we can walk the journey together.
Karibuni.
Asante tena sana. Of course, I had asked earlier about a very unique feature in your app where someone, let's say, can report, if someone is doing rather dumping, waste illegally, they can, reach out to you guys. Can you tell us, what steps this person can take?
Okay, so we have a feature which is report illegal dumping that is on the mobile app. It's very simple. You just need to have a camera, a smartphone. Unapiga picha and then you just upload. And when you upload, it will ask you for a location. So we're using Google Maps. You just type in the location, it will give you the exact pin location of where it is, and you say what happened, whether you've seen who it was, who did it, any other information about the waste. And then after that, we work very closely with Mombasa County Department of Environment for the past 2 years that we've been in business. And they're very supportive, and they're very, when you call them, they're ready to assist. So after that, the next step is we call them, and then they take action. And if hiyo takataka ni kidogo, we just go and remove it. We've done it so many times.
Okay.
Tunaona tu takataka zimebwagwa maybe 2-3 magunia hapo chini, we send a team and we tell them remove it. So wewe kama community member, upite pale uone takataka zimemwagwa. We were piloting in Mvita in Nyali at that time. Ukishakuwa unachukua picha tu, alafu unaweka pin location iko wapi and a bit of information if you have, and that's it. We pick it from there.
And you can pick it, yeah?
Okay.
I think we have touched on everything but failed to ask if anyone is listening, how can they first and foremost, find you in the social media spaces? And of course, if you have a physical office, and if someone has business, maybe they just want to come and have a cup of tea with you, where can they locate you?
So on social media platforms, across all social media platforms, our page handles are at Baus Taka or Baus_Taka_enterprise. Whichever you type is going to just pop up, Baus Taka. And then our offices are at Mapembeni, pale Pembe za Ndovu, exactly where the Pembe is. There's a restaurant called Wimpy Restaurant pale chini. Tuko huko juu. So karibuni sana mkunywe chai. Lakini msikuje wingi, hatuna nafasi kubwa hizo. Our phone numbers are, our office number is 0748 001 001 and WhatsApp is 0755 001 001. County 001.
County mashallah.
Okay, basically tumezungumzia zile vitu ambazo ni mostly tumezungumzia a lot of positive things. And basically wakati ambapo unajaribu ku grow as a person, or maybe when you're trying to grow your business, maybe there are some challenges that maybe you've faced. Maybe can you highlight and maybe how you have maybe tried to cope up with them?
Number one challenge for everybody, youth, women going into business, is financing. It's like we had such big and brilliant ideas, but we didn't have the financing.
Okay.
Like, how are we going to push this forward? We used social media, and this is something I need this message sent out there. Please leverage on social media. You don't know who is watching you. We've ended up on newspapers because of social media. We are very loud across social media platforms. Everything we do ends up on social media. Somebody somewhere will see it and be like, this is great work. We want to interview you. We ended up on Nation because of social media. We ended up with Standard because of social media. Tumeitwa kwa TV station because of social media. So the financing, we were on social media, and then somebody from Kisumu, in fact, sent me this Afro-Plastics challenge and said, hey, I've been seeing your work on social media. Why don't you apply? And I took it very lightly. I was like, no, we just started. At that time, I was like, no, this is a really big thing. This is a challenge for sub-Saharan Africa. We just started. We're just a year old at Raising Gear. And he kept pushing me. He said, no, I see your work on LinkedIn. I see your work. You need to do this. And I was like, let me just do it. And I remember sitting on the couch at, I think, a few minutes to the deadline. And I was like, let me just do it. And look at where we are today. We actually are one of the winners.
Which is very
because
powerful,
of social media.
Because of social media.
So whatever challenges you have, everybody has challenges. But leverage on what can get you out there. And this is what our youth need to understand. If you have a talent or whatever it is, a skill set, ensure uko kwa social media, unaonekanika globally. Yeah.
Amazing. And of course, as we wind up, over the weekend you conducted, should I say, an awareness program. I want you to, talk to us about how was that experience and why is it important, to carry out such campaigns.
So it was a Stop Marine Plastic Pollution Awareness Walk that was organized by one of the Mombasa Plastics Prize finalists, the team Baba. So they reached out to us and said, this is what we want to do. And he said, we're coming on board as partners. We're going to support. So we were one of the partners for the walk. And why it was important is that we realized kwa ground, as they say, vitu ni different. Unaweza kuona mtu anatupa taka na ukaona huyu mtu ako ignorant anatupa tu. But they don't know where to send that waste or why wakitupa pale, what's going to happen. They don't know the consequences. So we realized we need to get to the community and convey this information, why you should not do such things. So that awareness work was to ensure that people understand why we need to stop plastic pollution, especially ikifika kwa marine ecosystem. So we got there and we were able to sensitize directly and indirectly more than 5,000 people, leveraging on different partners. There were, I think, more than eight partners. And we were walking from Swahili Port to where our offices are, Pembe and Ndovu, and we had people coming out of the offices wanting to know,
what's happening?
What's all the noise about?
Yeah.
And it's good that at least they got that information. And now they'll be like, okay, si tuko tayari kufanya kazi na nyinyi. So I've been sitting there, lakini bado wananiambia tutafanya kazi na nyinyi, lakini ile siku tulitoka pale nje kusema stop plastic pollution, they're like, we're ready to work with you. Yeah.
Amazing. For my final question, everyone has a certain thing they want to do in life, and when you accomplish this thing that you've set out to do, you are, let's say, at peace with yourself and at peace with the world. What is that one thing for you and for your enterprise?
giving back to the community. I think when I was a dentist and I was at Coast General, I felt there was something missing in my life. But I have found peace when I see the women in the community. Like I'm giving them value. Now, as idea one way or the other, that's like a true calling, and that is what makes me sleep peacefully at night.
Okay, I have a question.
Empowering my community members, nothing more than that. Yeah.
Wow.
Okay, I have a question. Most na hii inahusiana sana sana most of the youth basically in the country unapata kwamba kuna job opportunities na maybe most of the youth wanataka kuingia into the white collar jobs, hawataki kuanzia their own business. I have this question. Is this what you really wanted to do wakati ulikuwa unajirealize, ulikuwa unasema kwamba one time I want to do this? Is this really what you wanted to do ama ilikuja tu baadaye?
It's definitely what I wanted to do. For me, if you give me money or peace, I'll go for peace always. Money comes and goes. That's one thing. That is one thing I strongly believe. Pesa inakuja inaenda.
Pesa ukuja.
Lakini hiyo peace, unaweza kuwa na pesa yote ukila kama huwezi lala vizuri.
It's of no value.
I feel like if you're passionate about something, go for it. And I was passionate about the environment in my community. And here I am.
Amazing. And of course, we had promised our listeners to engage you on a social media question of the day. When you grow up, what did you realize?
There's nothing more than the love of the family. Yeah, that's what I realized. I lost my grandmother, who was like a mother to me. And then within 2 weeks to COVID, within 14 days, my father passed away and the whole family had COVID. Everybody was COVID positive. And I had COVID, I had pneumonia at that time. And I realized one thing. In life, everything is family. Like, at least for me, my family is everything. Without my family.
Wow.
Yeah.
I don't think I'm going to be adding anything on it. I think it's very perfect the way it is. And this is the perfect place to go on a short musical break. If you have been following the conversation, you know what we are talking about. And of course, if you missed out, please kindly, in a few moments, head on to our YouTube page at Blue Radio KE for this exclusive feature. Right about now,